Welcome to the Wired for Success podcast, your show for ambitious, mission-driven entrepreneurs who want to build million-dollar businesses without sacrificing their health, relationships, or happiness, who understand that in order to build their empire, they need a solid foundation, and that the more they are thriving, the more their business is thriving too. This show brings you the very best from science, self-development, and entrepreneurship to set you up for sustainable success. Hi, I'm Claudia Garbutt, the scientist turned mindset and high-performance coach for entrepreneurs, and I help you get wired for success. Hey everyone, and welcome back to a brand new episode of the Wired for Success podcast, where we talk about all things science, self-development, and entrepreneurship that help you get to that next level of success in your life and business. And today, I'm bringing you another brand new interview episode. My guest today is Brimstone and his...
Oh!
There you go!
Go ahead. Say it. Say what you were going to say. Did I interrupt you?
No!
I'm the worst. I was going to say, finally, Brimstone has made it out to the Wired for Success podcast, hanging out with my girl, Claudia. She is an absolute doll. I'm super stoked to be here. I am probably the most different guest you've ever had on, and I promise you energy. So stay tuned, because I'm going to give you some good stuff and things to learn. So let's do this, Claudia. I'm ready to go whenever you are. I'm waking up.
That's awesome. I mean, your list of titles is longer than anyone else's I've seen on this show. And for those who don't know Brim yet, so his list of titles include professional wrestler, radio host, professional podcaster, actor, voice actor, author, entertainer, musician, philanthropist, oh, that's a difficult word, food critic, and comic book / children's book / video game hero. And I mean, wow, I don't think I've had the pleasure of talking with a real comic book hero before. That's pretty special.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. What do you call it? A good portion of my career, and obviously the Brimstone name. Don't get scared, people. It's just a gimmick. I've been Brimstone for well over 25 years. I started in the world of, I didn't start, but I was in the world of professional wrestling for quite some time, and that's where the name came from. That's where the branding came from, and that's where my current business lies, is in my entire brand. So, taking the Brimstone character, thinking outside of the box, taking the Brimstone character outside of the ring and putting it into a comic book series was something that I knew would have legs, and I'd be able to take that and mold that into a complete business outside of the business. So what do you call it? That comic book then turned into products and what do you call it? Animated series, kids books, and all that jazz. So yeah, it's about being creative and moving forward and finding the next natural progression of whatever you're doing in order to continue to build and brand.
I love that. So guys, I think you're in for a wild ride, because with a bio like that, this episode is bound to be a little different and a lot of fun. So again, welcome, Brim, and thank you so much for taking the time to be on my show today.
Honor and a privilege. Anytime a pretty German girl's going to contact me, I'm in. And you're smart too. We're good. Wherever we go, I'm happy to go. There we are.
Okay, I've got a little surprise for you, because before we start, should we come up with a secret word of the day?
Tell me you listen to Within Brimskin.
Yes, I listened to an episode of your show Within Brimskin, and I learned about your tradition or your running gag around the secret word of the day. So maybe you want to tell our listeners what's that all about.
All right. So, we Within Brimskin is my rant show. I do my regular show is the Grindhouse Radio, which is on iHeart, 30 networks. We do like 3.5-4 million listeners weekly worldwide. So I have to kind of keep it not tame, but tame enough on that show. So Within Brimskin was kind of like my spinoff, where I was able to kind of go above and beyond and, get a little crazy if I need to, rant about things that I wouldn't necessarily be able to rant about on air on Grindhouse. And, it's just my place to let loose a little bit. And sometimes I get really crazy. Sometimes I'm not so much. So the secret word happened at the very beginning of the the creation of Within Brimskin, and the reason for it was back when, in the days when I was growing up, there was a show called Pee Wee's Playhouse. I don't know if you guys had seen it out there. Pee Wee Herman. You know that guy. Okay, so what do you call it? Pee Wee's Playhouse. You never saw Pee Wee's Big Adventure, that movie and stuff like that. Pee Wee really? Wow. Okay, fair enough. So Pee Wee Herman was a national phenomenon here. He had a kids show. He was actually an adult comedian who turned into a children's television host, and went on to do like so many different things. And on the kids show, it was every single episode they had the secret word of the day, and when you said the secret word of the day, what happens? We all scream real loud. So it just became a little shtick that we did on the show, and just had fun with it. So half the time we would say it and then forget to scream afterwards, and it was bad. So I had fans call me out on that all the time. But what do you call it? It became a thing. And it's funny because I've had people report back to me, yeah, I was in the middle of a bank and I heard the secret word and I screamed real loud and it didn't work out real well. I was like, oh yeah, well maybe you shouldn't have really done that. But thank you for playing. I appreciate it. But so that's where the secret word of the day came from. It was a lot of fun. And that's like actually funny enough. It's the first time I've ever been asked that question. So I appreciate that.
Absolutely. So how about success as our secret word of the day?
Success sounds good. There we go.
So
now that you did it, now you got to scream.
I was about to say that. So we tested. What's the name of this podcast again? Do you remember?
What? Oh, I don't want to say it because I don't want to have to scream real loud. No, I don't want to scream real loud.
So I say it, but you have to scream. So this is the Wired for Success.
Wired for Success. There we go.
Okay.
I thought I knew you were going to try to trick me there.
No, I wouldn't do that. Now that we all know the secret word of the day and we all know what to do when we hear it or say it, let's get back to business.
Sounds good.
First real question. With a list of titles like that, can you please start by just sharing a little bit about your background and your journey? How did you get to do all those different things?
A lot of work, a lot of hard work, a lot of effort, a lot of sacrifice, a lot of failure, that it all comes with success. There we go. I had to get it out of the way. I started when I was a child. My mom, my mom and my dad got divorced, and I was really young at the time. And my mother thought, well, he's cute. I'm ugly now, but I was cute then. She's like, let me get him involved in maybe some acting and so forth. So she had brought me into Manhattan because I live in New York. So New York City, Manhattan is, one of the hubs of, media, just like LA is one of the other hubs in the States. So she brought me out to Manhattan and she got me into acting, and I wound up being, starting my career as a child actor on like Sesame Street and Romper Room, which, if you're not familiar with them out there, they were big children's television shows here. And it was a good, opportunity for me as a child. And I went and I did a bunch of different commercials. I remember reading, I don't know if I did the commercials but I know I did Rice Krispie treats and not Rice Krispie treats, Rice Krispies and A1 steak sauce and a couple of other things there. And, I was young, so I don't remember everything super vividly. And my mother passed a few years ago, and I probably should have asked her more about that stuff, but she probably wouldn't remember anyway. And, but my parents wound up having a big, like back and forth where, if it was my father's weekend or it was his week, because here, I don't know how they do in divorce households there, but, you share days of the week and so forth. So, my father and my mother would always be banging heads, and eventually she just couldn't bring me into the city anymore because all the auditions were happening on days that he might have me or might not have me or whatever it was. So that just kind of cut things short when I was younger, and I was a kid, so I didn't know any better. Later on, I wound up getting infatuated with comic books, and art, and I wanted to be a famous artist. And even though I don't draw today, even though I can draw, just not like some of the guys out there that just are incredible, I started to fall in love with art and comics. And it's funny enough, I started reading a lot of books that today, are movies and so forth, the Marvel universe, the MCU. But that kind of was one of my first loves. And funny enough, however many years later, the people that whose books I used to read, Stan Lee and what do you call it, stuff with G.I. Joe and blah blah blah, I was close and personal friends with later on in life. Everything came full circle, and I became a comic book character, even though I didn't draw it. So what do you call it? So everything kind of came full circle for me there. And I am the celebrity spokesperson for the Stan Lee Foundation. So if you're familiar with who Stan Lee is or was, because he passed away, a few years ago, but Stan, created Spider-Man and the X-Men, a whole bunch of different amazing characters that we know and love today. So that being said, I found my true first love, which was music. I was a drummer. And I learned, I got started in elementary school, with drumming. And that took me all the way through college. And, I wound up leaving college early and I went touring. I was playing music and, just doing the band thing and doing the musician thing. And, that's where I learned a lot of hardcore guerrilla marketing and, how to approach people and book shows and, deal with people that, in the media and so forth. So it gave me a good stepping stone to the future. I also had a product that I put out when I was in, my later years in high school going into college, was a product, and don't make fun of it. What do you call it? It was actually called Dr. Peckerhead's Let's Play Dr. Sex Kid. And, and it was, and there's a whole story behind that. But I was able to take, with a friend of mine from, my youth, what do you call it? We put together these little kits that I drew the characters for, and I designed the packaging. I went out, I priced out all the stuff. He was able to get any latex stuff from overseas in Malaysia, because he was dating a girl at the time who her father was a doctor and he was working in his office. So, he's like, yeah, I could get these condoms. And I was like, we're kids. And I go, well, maybe we could do something with it. So yes, I did a smutty thing, even though it wasn't smutty. It's a cute little thing where, what do you call it? Basically it was used at, bachelorette parties. The women are the ones who really purchased the heck out of them. Came with a little, a set of latex gloves, 3 condoms, a little manual, a doctor's mask, and it was just cute. And I went door to door and literally sold them to all the adult shops. I sold them to a couple of the big retail outlets that were here at the time, Spencer's, which is still around, as well as World Imports. And they sold like the dickens. We made a lot of money as kids. And the only reason why we stopped doing it, because there was no reason to stop, is because he wound up going to college. I was handling everything. And then the stuff was stored at his parents' house. And his parents didn't realize it, and they threw all the stuff out. So all of our inventory was gone, and I was getting calls and calls and calls, and they were like, hey, we want it. We want the product. We need more. And I'm like, So yeah, that was my first foray into entrepreneurship. And it's funny because I don't talk about it often, but sometimes it's important to know where you came from. And that gave me a lot of inspiration to continue to do things and create things from nothing. I liked the fact that I was able to take something and say, oh, this is interesting. I have an idea. Let's spark with it, and let's take that spark and move forward with it. And what can we do next? And I was already thinking of different ideas to do with it at the time. Unfortunately, things happened the way it happened, but it is what it is. But the music thing, I was touring, I did all my things. I was traveling around. I was playing all over the place with a couple of different bands. And, eventually I got sick of a 5-way marriage. And, it's hard enough to keep one marriage together with 2 people. Try doing it with 5, and you have to, live with and travel and eat with and blah, 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 and then perform with these people. At the end of the day, I got sick of being in that marriage. And I said, you know what? It is what it is. I'm going to take a break from music. I never thought that I'd be out of music as long as I have been, obviously. But, I took a break and I wound up getting into professional wrestling. That's a whole story in itself. So, so I became a professional wrestler. And then, I took everything that I'd learned from prior, from the music and from the novelty item. And, I took that and I put that into the Brimstone character, where I was able to, learn how to guerrilla market and to, speak with promoters, contact people by using the old school microfiche. I mean, you name it, I did it. And, that's how I was able to be successful to what do you call it? In the world of pro wrestling as well as in business. And then again, being the guy that I am, I don't like to leave well enough alone. I like to continue to build out and brand and so forth. So I'd be the guy that would have not just 8x10s at my table. I'd have t-shirts and buttons and trading cards, and I'd try to be innovative and, anything that I could do that would, give people an opportunity to maybe purchase something different. How many times can somebody buy an 8x10? You know what I mean? Especially if the same person. How many times you want to buy an 8x10 of me and get a signature? Once, twice, maybe 3 times. Any more than that's a little batty. You know what I mean? Buy something else. So I always wanted to have something different at the table so people would not have to, if they wanted to continue to purchase stuff from me, they'd be able to have the opportunity to try different things or expand on, the Brimstone products that they'd have. And obviously that led to everything that happened after, in terms of the comics and the kids' books and the sauces and seasonings and the coffee and the candy and all that jazz. And, here I am. And then I'm still trying to build and grow and so forth. And everything is tied together. It's a real interesting thing. So I hope I gave you enough to chew on for right now.
Absolutely.
I gave you the short version.
There's such interesting stories. Thank you so much for sharing. And you sound like a super creative person. So which one of those past or current project feels closest to your heart? Do you have a favorite project? And if so, what makes that project so special to you?
My favorite project is my children. And it's because I love my family the most. To be completely blunt, I love everything else that I do equally. I just, but the thing I love just a little bit more is my family. You know what I mean? You can't create anything better than, the fruit from your own loins. So there you go. My children are my favorite project I've ever done. And they're a continual work in progress. So I love all 3 of my children. In terms of doing any just entertainment in general, entrepreneurial things in general, my big line I always say is, entertainers are entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs should be entertaining. And the fact of the matter is, I believe we're one and the same. And, I enjoy everything that I do, anything that I can touch and get my hands onto and build into something that's fun and cool, or in terms of performing, it's something that I enjoy. And is one cooler than the next? No, they're all pretty cool. You know what I mean? Doing voice work and hearing myself in different, being able to do different characters and, bring characters to life in animation and video games and, even in commercials. That's so much fun for me. I love it to death. But I also loved bumping around in a ring and tossing people around and getting to be Brimstone. I love being Brimstone 24/7. You know what I mean? And some people look at me like sideways. Oh, and yeah, I'm Brim. Nice to meet you. Guess what? Is it weird that you're calling me Brim or Brimstone? No. Guess what? Do you call Madonna by her real, original name? Did you call Prince by his real name? And so many other people. It's a brand, and I stick by it, and I'm proud of it. So why would I want to be called anything else? And it's easier. And here's the funny thing, and the reason why I always utilize at the beginning my stage name when introducing rather than my real name is it's easier to remember if somebody says, hey, I'm Brim, or hey, I'm Brimstone, then hey, this is Will. You know what I'm saying? It's a much easier thing to remember. And I try to think that I'm a memorable looking guy anyway. So when you're out there and you're doing things and I'm all in my Brimstone, like it's been crazy. That's the only reason why I don't have my rings on, but I have my big skull rings on and so forth. And I'll still go into a boardroom with ripped jeans, skull rings on, and go in and I'll command a boardroom like nobody's business. And they will respect me because I know what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? It's not about, the outside of the book is what's inside of the book. That's why they always say, don't judge a book by its cover. I can run circles around people that think that they're superior to me just based on the fact of how I look. And, it is what it is. I've worked even, before I was doing Brimstone 24/7. I worked at major corporations. In sales and marketing. So I have a background in sales and marketing. I have a background of running boardrooms, and that was before I started running my own companies. So it's funny when people think that I can't put two words together, and that's why a lot of people think the wrestler, it's a dumb one, it's a dumb guy. No, that's not the case. And it's nice to see that a lot more of the boys from the wrestling industry doing more stuff within business and so forth, because it gets rid of a little bit of that stigma that we're not intelligent creatures. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you can't judge a book by its cover. That's so true. I mean, there are not many people who know that I have had a heavy metal phase in my life. So
nice.
See?
Yes. Like, girl, there we go.
Yeah, and I really like that having fun is one of the things that you really focus on with everything that you do. Because if you don't enjoy what you do, I think it reflects in the work that you do. So as long as you're having fun, it's gonna be something that creates value and adds value to lives in general. So when you look back at your entrepreneurial journey, do you remember what motivated you to become an entrepreneur in the first place? You mentioned that first product. Was it just about having fun? Was it about trying to create something from nothing? Or what was it that motivated that first move?
It's a little bit of both. Something that sparked the idea. And that was exciting. And then I was joking around and I was like, maybe we could do this. And then it was a light bulb. And I said, oh, that would be funny. That would be interesting. Then it was like a challenge. I said, can we do it? And like I said, I went, we didn't have the luxury of the internet then. You know what I mean? We didn't have Google like we have now. So when I had to go on and actually, when I had to go and find the people that I needed to work with for the boxes, for the labels, for the this, for the that, I actually had to go seek them out and go visit them and speak with them and shake their hands, old school style, and make the deals with them, and I had to do that for a bunch of different aspects. So, for me, it was fun. It was exciting. It was different. I love to deal with people, in a positive manner. There are also people that I don't like to deal with because it is what it is. The world sucks right now. I'm sorry, people. I hate to be sounding like my grandparents, but there are a lot of bad people out there, and it is what it is. But I put a lot of myself into the product. So, it was only natural that later on I would be the product. For everything that I've done, I've put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into everything. And it's important. It's important to love what you do. Like you mentioned earlier, it's very important, because if you don't love what you do, then there's no reason to do it. You know what I mean? And, otherwise why bother? You have to do something that's going to be fun. Like you said, what was the reason? Because it was fun. It's something fun. It's something different that I can do, that I can put myself out there. I don't have to work for other people. I work for myself. At the end of the day, I can look myself in the mirror and say, I did everything I possibly could in order to put something amazing out into the world. And you know what? Not everybody's going to love it, because you can't make 100% of the people happy 100% of the time. It's just never going to happen. So, but when you put something that you put your best foot forward, and you put out your best work, and you put out the best thing that you could possibly do, and you just be yourself, your people will find you. And that's all that you have to worry about. Don't concentrate on numbers. Don't concentrate on dollars and cents. Concentrate on putting your best foot forward and making sure that you're doing the best you possibly can. If you go on and you start a new business, you start on social media and you can't seem to get anybody to like your stuff, guess what? Eventually they will. You know what I mean? It takes time. It's a slow burn. Nothing happens like this. The people that you see as overnight successes are not overnight successes. You haven't seen the last 10, 20, 30 years that they've been busting their hump to get there. That goes for business. That goes for entertainment. And that's why I say we're one and the same. It's very, very important for people to understand that.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for saying that again, because people need to hear it again and again and again. Because it's so easy to just scroll through your social media feed and see, oh, everyone else is doing better than I am. And oh my goodness, I suck, right?
Yeah. It's not a competition. You know what I mean? It's not a competition. And, you know, people might say, oh, this one's doing this. This one's doing. Well, that makes you a hater. Who cares what this one's doing, what that one's doing? Concentrate on yourself. Stop bad-mouthing or criticizing what's happening elsewhere. Worry about your own business. Worry about cleaning up your own yard. When your own yard is clean, people are walking by and they say, "Oh, that's a nice yard." You know what I mean? But when you're going to leave it trashed because you're sitting too busy complaining about your neighbor's yards, oh, that person's tree is overgrown. Or blah, 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 blah. You see what I'm saying? And then your yard is just as bad. You know what I mean? Or you're concentrating on everybody else. Your yard gets dirty and nobody cares about your yard except for you. So, clean up your own yard and more people will care about loving your home. So, you know what I mean? I hope I'm making sense. I try to throw things like that in and sometimes people will get it, sometimes they won't. But at the end of the day, it's very important to worry about yourself. You've never seen a hater doing better than you. You know what I mean? Don't worry about people that hate on you. Don't worry about people that are doing better than you. Don't worry about anybody else except for yourself. You have no other competition. And even if you do have somebody that's doing the exact same thing as you are, do it a little bit differently. You know what I mean? What makes you unique? Be a little bit better. One of my big things, and I always tell my people, I tell my co-hosts all the time, be better. That's it. Be better. It's the most simple thing that you can say. Be better. And people, sometimes they get it, sometimes they don't. So, it is what it is. Hope I'm making sense.
Absolutely. Just if everyone minded their own business, we would all be better off. Mm-hmm. And I think entrepreneurship is so fascinating because it teaches you so much about yourself. And sometimes things you never wanted to know about yourself, right?
Yeah.
What 3 words do you think best describe you as an entrepreneur? Are you more of a calm mastermind, the chaotic creative, the overwhelmed hustler, or something else entirely?
Cool, calm, collective. I can absolutely get overwhelmed just like everybody else, but for the most part, when you're dealing with as much as I deal with on a regular basis, if you let yourself get crazy, it's never going to happen. So I have to be very cool-minded. I have people coming at me all the time, whether on bad things or good things, it just comes with the territory. So I have to be very cool-headed. I have to be very calm, and I have to have all my thoughts collected, because if I don't, something bad's going to happen, and, have I lost it here and there? Of course, everybody has. I'm human, as much as I'd like to think I'm not, I am human, and, things happen, and, it is what it is. I mean, failure again is also part of this business. Failure is part of the road to success. So you missed the screen. So what do you call it? So anybody who tuned in late is like, what the hell's going on there? But at the end of the day, that's what sows the seeds. If you don't put if you don't have that failure, there's no way you're going to move forward. Failure is you stop, you figure out, all right, what happened? Take a couple steps back, and then you utilize what you learned from that failure to take 10 steps forward. And that's always what I've done. I might get overwhelmed and go, uh-oh, what's going on? This is not working. I stop. I take 2 steps back, maybe 3 steps back, and I evaluate. I say, what happened here? What happened there? Why is this not working? And then I go, okay, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, and then I wind up taking a huge jump forward. Sometimes it's 8 steps, sometimes it's 10, sometimes it's 15, sometimes it's 1, and I still got to crawl myself back those extra couple of steps. But for the most part, it is a large leap forward. And most of the time, I take my biggest leaps forward when I have something done to me that's foul and bad, and somebody screws you for one reason or another. Yes, in business and in entertainment, you get screwed plenty. And the fact of the matter is when something like that happens, it inspires me and lights a fire under my rear end to say, hey, that's not going to happen again. And I take a step back, evaluate, cut out that cancer, and then move forward. And I always get my biggest jumps, when that happens. So, and that's it's happened throughout the career where you have somebody, or, most of the time it's somebody, not something, who does something that is meant to hurt you because they want what you have. But then they realize later on that doesn't matter what they do to you or say about you or whatever it is, they can't be you. You know what I mean? They can't be you. Nobody can do what you do. And the fact of the matter is that you can take what you do and you can move it elsewhere and shift and still succeed. That didn't say this, the success. There we go. But what do you call it? But at the end of it, I'm trying not to use the word, so it's been challenging. But you can still shift and move forward. And other people will just be sitting there wallowing and not knowing what to do with what they tried to take. So it's a very interesting, situation, but you've got to understand that failure is part of it, and embrace it. I wear it like a badge of honor. Some things that haven't worked, I'm like, okay. And it doesn't mean that it won't work forever either. There are projects that I started a while back and I put on hold and shelved it and then decided, okay, I'm going to pick it up later on. One of the things that I did that with is my book. I mean, I have my autobiography that I started writing way sooner than I probably should have, but I was able to, when I was younger, get out a lot of stuff that I probably wouldn't remember as vividly now as I did then. So it's a good thing I started it, but my story is nowhere near being written. It'll still be written until the day that I die. But at the end of it, the fact is that, I, at that point, it wasn't to I wasn't at a point where I should have been putting something out into the world, even though people were saying, you've done so much, blah, blah, blah. Well, now I've done 10 times more than what I did then, and now so much more of that story I feel is interesting. And for people that want to read about the autobiography, read the autobiography, learn more about me. I feel that now it's a much tighter ship, and my wife says to me all the time, she's like, yeah, it's something you should do when you're older. I'm like, no, because I won't remember anything when I'm older. I already can't remember what I'm talking about half the time. So, but at the end of the day, I'll put out the first one, and I went back to writing it, now. So hopefully I'll start getting that together, and maybe by next year I'll get that out. But these are, like I said, a little thing that it's just because I stopped it momentarily doesn't mean I'm not going back to it. Just means at that point in time, it wasn't the right time to do it. The Grindhouse Radio. I wanted to do the Grindhouse, a lot sooner than what I did. I actually, purchased the all the IP. I bought the URLs. I bought, everything that I needed to do. I got all the social media and so forth. And, I locked it all up. And then, I couldn't get the things accomplished that I needed to get accomplished in order to make it happen. Then about a year and a half later, I picked it back up again with a couple of interns, which then turned into my partners. And we're one of the biggest, podcasts in terms of pop culture that's out there. You know what I mean? Top 20 in Apple, on pop culture and this and comedy and so forth. I mean, 3.5, 4 million listeners weekly worldwide. I think we're doing the right thing. Awesome. A lot of different trophies. We won for 4 years in a row. We're based in New York, on Long Island, in New York. We were voted best radio station on Long Island 4 years in a row. You know what I mean? Over all the terrestrial radio stations, you know what I mean? Which are AM, FM. I don't know if it's the same out by you. I'm assuming it is. But you know what I'm saying? Like, this is just because you put it on the side doesn't mean you can't come back and totally kick ass later, you know? So I hope that that's somewhat inspiring.
Absolutely. It's so inspiring. And I love the three words that you use to describe yourself as a businessman. Now I'm curious, are those the same words that you would use to describe yourself outside of entrepreneurship? Because I think what I'm getting at is how different is Brim the businessman from Brim the private person?
You know what? Not very different. My persona on air, I'm a lot bigger and louder and so forth. I'm still big and loud, but I'm not, off camera and off screen, or outside of a boardroom. But I'm just not as in your face. You know what I mean? I like to sit back and I like to just enjoy life. I enjoy the world. I enjoy spending the time with my family. When I get to see friends, we like to spend time with friends. At this point, especially this point in my life, I like to stop and smell roses before they're growing on me. You know what I mean? And it's very important to take that time for your well-being, your health, because yes, I'm a workaholic. I will work, I work for myself. So if I'm not working, I'm not making money. You see what I mean? I have a whole bunch of different revenue streams, but again, that means nothing if I'm not consistently working and making sure and checking and so forth. So, in terms of the grand scheme of things, I need to stop every so often and just relax and breathe. So, so if I'm sitting in, like right now I'm in the studio, if I'm in the studio on a normal day, if I'm not out touring, I'm sitting here and I do voice work, then I'm doing an interview like we are now, then I do one of the shows that I've got to do, then I'll sit and make a bunch of phone calls, and then I'll be texting while I'm doing the phone calls. I multitask like a fiend. But when I'm off, when I try to just chill, I try to put everything on the side. And yes, I still work on the phone a little bit wherever I am, because again, I have to. But I try to enjoy the environment and see new things and be around new things. And, that to me is life, experiencing everything. My wife is more of a recluse. She'd rather stay in the house and never leave sometimes. But I'm like, nope, come on. I grab her by her hair and let's go. No, I'm just kidding. What do you call it? I like to go out. I like to travel, which is why I enjoy, touring, is because I get to go out. I get to see different cities and meet different people. I'm a foodie. I do a lot of stuff in the food realm. So, I like to meet a lot of people in restaurants and so forth. So for me, the person outside of entertainment, which I can't get away from, because I am Brimstone. So, when I go out, there is a chance that people are going to recognize me. Some people will come up and talk to me. Other people will just stare. Other people won't say anything. It depends on where you are and who you are. I'm not an A-lister, but I have plenty of fans all around the world that know who I am. So, which is really funny. I'll tell you a quick story if it's okay. I know I talk too much. So I could be signing at a convention, and people can come up and see everything and see that we're there, see that I'm there. And then they come up to me and they say, "Oh my God, Brimstone is here. When's he going to get here?" And I'm like, "I'm right here." It's like, oh, but it's so weird. Sometimes people don't even realize, maybe because if my hair's back in a ponytail rather than being down, I'm not frowning, whatever it is. So that's a funny thing. So sometimes people recognize some people, sometimes people don't. One of the craziest times was at Walt Disney World. I got recognized by somebody who couldn't just keep their mouth shut. And the problem is all it takes is one person. And they like screamed and made a big scene out of it. And then a whole bunch of people who had no idea who I was, just all around me. And it was one of those things like, do you even know who I am? Like, no, what do you do? Click, 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 It's just an odd thing, and I don't want to bore you with those stories. But the time I take away from the quote unquote business side of everything I do, I try to relax and take my head out of the game, Forget about all the bad things that are going on in the world. Forget about all the crazy things that are going on in business, whether it's good or bad or indifferent, and just spend the time where I am. Because health wise, you need to give your brain and your body time to just relax and get back to normal. Does that make sense? You know what I mean? Like,
Absolutely. That's so important. And I think that success
ah!
is so multifaceted. And if we are only looking at one marker of success,
Ah! You got me on that one.
hey, are you paying attention?
I was sleeping on it for a second.
If you're only looking at one marker, like how much money we are making right now, we don't see the whole picture. And I mean, they
No.
often say that a healthy man has 1,000 wishes, but a sick man only has one. And I think that's absolutely true, because for anyone who has suffered from a serious injury or serious disease, they will probably all agree that if you don't have your health, you can't enjoy all the money or the freedom that you're creating, right?
Absolutely.
So if you could change just one thing in your life instantly, like this, what would it be?
I mean, I'm really in terms of what, just my life in general, or things that happened to me in the past, or give me an idea of what
Everything.
anything.
Anything
If
you
I
want.
if I could do things over the way, do things over, I would do everything pretty much the way I did, except for I would cut out a couple of cancers that were in my life, in terms of people that shouldn't have been there, that, were just, all they were was bad. So that would be what I would, what I would do. And if I wasn't able to go backwards and fix anything there, then the only thing I would do is just help me get rid of a little bit of this extra weight that I gained over the COVID season. Then I'll be a little happier, but because time wise, I haven't had the time to get it off. So, if we could just click it off, do the Thanos snap, boom, it's
Yes.
gonna, I'm like, yes, that'd be great. Anyway.
Yeah, I could potentially help you with that, but it's probably going to take a little more than just that.
I know.
Well, speaking about changing things, are you someone who sets goals and creates lists and action plans to help you get there? Or are you more someone like who just likes to go with the flow and tries to wing it?
You really want to know?
Yeah.
I like to wing it. Depending on what it is. Like, I'll do business plans. I hate writing business plans, and I can, you know what I mean? I just don't like always sitting there and doing that. I like to kind of figure out the nuts and bolts of things. And, I become a student of whatever game I'm getting involved in. So, when it was comic books, I got involved and learned everything I could about, building out a comic book and everybody's position within a comic book and the company and so forth. Same thing with foodie stuff. I became a student of the game with the sauces and seasonings. When I put out my products, I then went on tour with, what do you call it? The company that had co-packed my products, myself and my buddy Bumblefoot from he was with Guns N' Roses for a long time. And the two of us, we did our sauces, and I did my sauce and seasoning with a company called Cajon's Fiery Foods. And now my stuff is with Torchbearer Sauces, which is also in the States. What do you call it? And what do you call it? We I would go on tour with Cajuns, and I would do all the different events just so I could learn more about that business and learn, so I did take notes. I did put together a plan, but I also wung it in a lot of ways. It really depends on the situation. You know what I mean? I wish I had more of an answer that would be like direct, like I always wing it or I always do lists, but that's not the way I am. Sometimes I'll list things out and build, and other times I'm just going to be like, all right, what do I need to do to make this happen? Teach me, and just wing it. It is what it is. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So true. I mean, as long as you have your goal and you stay flexible in your approach, I think that's actually a pretty good thing. I mean, we can make plans as much as we like, but we all know that life also happens, and people who got too hung up on just following the plan that they came up with, they often get stuck because they're not flexible enough. So if it's working for you,
have to think outside of the box always. This is the box. Your comfort zone. Your comfort zone should be right outside of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
I didn't mean to cut you off. I just,
No, absolutely. You're fine. Before we wrap up, is there anything else that you would like to share with our listeners today?
I would like for everyone, one of the things I always like to put out there is something good into the world. The fact is there are so many people this day and age that are hurting out there. There are so many people that are having troubles, whether it's with everything that happened with COVID or just anything in general. And I like to say, put something good out into the world. Find something that you have a passion for. Maybe somebody had cancer, or somebody has leukemia, or something with a child, or whatever it is. Find something that means something to you, and give a little bit of time back to it. Give a little something back to it. I'm not saying you have to put your own money into it, but time is sometimes just as good, if not better, than money. Find something, give an extra hour of your time a week, a month, a year, give a day, a week, a month, a year, whatever it is, to give back and spend some time helping a charity and giving back to the people in the community, people that need that help. One, you never, ever know how much somebody really appreciates that. And two, you'll feel good about yourself. It helps put your boots down onto the ground and get in there and do something good for the world. And you're going to feel it later. You're going to feel good about yourself, and you're helping somebody more than you ever thought you could. So go put some good out into the world. And, that's what I like to leave people with.
Oh, I love that. That's such great advice, and a great, I totally agree on that one. And that's exactly why I just joined the Red Cross over here and volunteer for them, because cool. I've raised money as well and to give it to charity and everything. But I think at the basis, you still need people who are willing to get their hands dirty and do some of the work, right? Money alone isn't going to fix it. So we need the people who will actually do the work. So everyone out there, do something. Everyone can do a little bit, and give a little bit of your time, or give a little bit of your money, or more if you can. But everyone can do something.
Absolutely. Where
can people find you online if they would like to connect with you or learn more about you?
Sure. If you want to hit me up on my official website is therealbrimstone.com. You can find everything on me there. There are very few things about me that are not on there, which will get there eventually. All my social media is up there, but I am very heavy on Instagram at therealbrimstone. I'm verified, so you know it's me. Hopefully, you'll shoot me a message, or, like my stuff. I mean, if you interact and engage with me, on the posts, it's always me writing back. It's not my wife. It's not my assistant. It's not a employee. It's not PR. It's me personally. Would love to hear from people. And as long as you have something nice to say, I'm happy to hear it and respond. So hopefully you'll follow it.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Brim, for sharing your tips and experiences with us today. It's been an honor and a pleasure and a lot of fun having you on the show today.
Honor and a privilege being here. Thank you so much for having me. It was so good. It was awesome.
Thank you. So take care and talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for listening to the Wired for Success podcast. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. If you did, please take a sec to rate and review my show, or share it with a friend. That way you can support the show and help me reach and support other entrepreneurs like yourself as well. If you would like my help to figure out how you can go from overwhelmed and overworked hustler to empowered and confident leader, check out my website at www.wiredforsuccess.solutions and book a free 20-minute strategy session with me. Can't wait to help you get wired for success. Until next time, take care. Bye.